Video again, part number 3 of the conditions in East Cleveland. This big building here is a Walgreens, and they abandoned it. It's a big place. It was a big store, and they let it go because people were stealing so much stuff that they couldn't make any money. They were losing money, so they shut it down. And they opened a small one. It's got a big parking lot. It's a good place, but again, the city of East Cleveland took it over, and not the city, the people, and they robbed them, and they just couldn't make any money. So I gotta let my dog out to go to the bathroom, but you can see the bushes and the brush. Okay, it hasn't been cut. Nothing's been trimmed or cleaned up. It's just an abandoned property at this point. In one of our other videos, we showed you where Mr. Hero had abandoned a building and how ramshackled it was. And this Walgreens is the same. These major companies, they come in, and once they lose money, they start abandoning the properties, and they just leave it and go. So you can see there's people dumping stuff, dumping mattresses. I'm in my car, and I'm gonna drive around East Cleveland. All that garbage under the bushes and stuff there. The grass hasn't been cut. I'm in my car, and I'm gonna drive around a few spots in East Cleveland so you can see further some of the problems from videos 1 and videos 2 on East Cleveland. So here we go, folks. We got a lot of dumping, if you can see it. Dumping big piles. It looks like roofing materials. They just come back here because it's behind this building, and the police aren't back here. On the other side of the fence, they dumped a bunch of wood and stuff. That's a company back there. They're still in business, amazingly, but they're dumping wood and all of that. And you go over here, none of the grass is cut. They're dumping major amounts of stuff. Look at all that roofing shingles and roofing materials. They just dump stuff. This stuff is hazardous. Those roofing shingles are full of nails. You know, when they tear those roofs off, they tear all the nails out and dump that stuff. It's a terrible problem here in the city of East Cleveland. This building back here behind us, as you see, all the bushes and stuff are well overgrown. It's boarded up. The windows are boarded up. As you see, that building is shut down. Also, that building over there, if you can see over there, the roof is caved in, and it's abandoned. It's shut down, just like in videos 1 and 2 on this subject. They got so many empty abandoned buildings that are just need to be torn down because they're an eyesore, and they're definitely a hazard to the community and a hazard to the children in the community. It's terrible, and the city of East Cleveland doesn't do anything about it. They could catch them if they wanted to. They dump some more landscape and stuff. As you can see, the grass hasn't been cut, and they got big piles of stuff over here. Now, that big pile of dirt there, as you see, it's all in one pile. It's a big pile, so that had to be put there by a dump truck. A pickup truck or a box truck didn't dump that. A dump truck came back here, hit the lever, dumped that box on the back, and left it, and it didn't take them 2 seconds to do it. And then somebody dumped the roofing materials next to it. Roofing materials is a common thing that they dump. Come on, dude. They got all this other stuff. All this other stuff that they've dumped. So we're gonna hit the road here and drive around. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Behind Walgreens. Walgreens abandoned this property, and they opened a little one over there, a little bitty store that basically just does prescriptions. They have a few things for sale, but they do the prescriptions for people. As you can see, a lot of this is overgrown and hasn't been cut. They have to put a lock on their dumpster, as you see, to keep people from opening it and dumping a lot of stuff. Dumping is a terrible problem here in the city of East Cleveland, and they take bad advantage of it all over the place all the time because they know they can get away with it. So it's bad, but what can you do? So we're going to travel around and show you a couple other areas. And this here street that you're looking at is State Route 6, Euclid Avenue. This is a state route, and they allow all this dumping and abandonment and that sort of thing. The state won't step in and take care of it. The city, honestly, they don't have the money to take care of it, you know, and it's just going further and further down each and every day. State Route 6 in East Cleveland, Ohio, the worst city in the USA. Here's a building. Looks like they put new windows in it, but the building is vacant. There's one business open, everything's boarded up. There's one business open on the corner, and that's a little store there, and that's it for that. Let's go up this other street here. I gotta turn around. There's so much stuff to show you in East Cleveland that's bad. It's terrible. But like I say a million times over, the city won't do anything about it. So that's it. This is another street. You see all the broken windows. The building is abandoned. It's all ramshackled. They've been dumping tires. Okay, that lot does look like it's been cut. There's a house there. That house is abandoned. If you can see the roof is bad. Okay. Now, look at this other building. It's abandoned. Look at all the stuff that they've dumped. They've just dumped so much stuff. It's a hazard, and the kids are all up and down in this neighborhood, the children, and it's very, very dangerous. It's a big hazard. If you can see ramshackle buildings, it's just terrible. Here's another building. Okay, look at all the dumping of all the stuff that they've done. The building's abandoned. Okay, everything's been dumped. It's terrible. It's terrible. Look at all that dumping stuff. And then you go up a little further, and right in front of us, this is Roxford. Look at that building that's abandoned. That whole big old apartment building is abandoned. The whole thing. is ramshackled. They dump stuff, and they just abuse everything. Roxford Road in East Cleveland, that's a big apartment building. Look at the bricks on the roof are falling down. If you're walking by and one of those bricks hits you in the head, you're gonna be dead. That building definitely needs to be torn down, just like all the other buildings here in East Cleveland. I just showed you 4 or 5 other apartment buildings that need to be torn down. Here's a house here that's ramshackled, and it's falling apart, and it's abandoned, and it looks like probably some homeless people are living there. It's just bad the way they have things here in East Cleveland right now. So I have to turn around. That's that building back there in the back that's ramshackled again, and it's pretty bad. Dude, get back. It's pretty bad the way they're letting this city go to waste. They do have some good citizens in the city, but it's just so difficult when you got to deal with, look at this house here, completely boarded up and done. It's difficult for the good citizens to be happy and live. Okay, this house here is completely abandoned, as you can see, and the police station is on the end of the street, so they won't even tear down buildings and stuff that are on the street. East Cleveland has a new hook and ladder truck. There it is. That's a big fancy truck, quite a bit of money, but they won't maintain the city. They do have some safety equipment, but I'm sure you can imagine it's not enough. So let's go down this other street and show you some more of these abandoned properties. These are major apartment buildings, big buildings that used to house a lot of people, and they're in such a bad condition now that it's become dangerous. It's completely dangerous. So a couple businesses are still open. Okay, we have one building here completely ramshackled. Somebody dumped a boat back there. They've been dumping stuff back there. They dumped a boat, a tri-hull boat. All the landscaping is overgrown. Nothing's been trimmed or cut. It's just terrible the way it is. This auto shop is still open, but they're saving the tires out back, which is a hazard to the community. Mice and rats and vermin have a tendency to live in empty tires. It's a perfect home for them, and then they store a bunch of them, and then they're good to go. So now this is the East Cleveland Salvation Army. They put food out for the people all the time, and it's a new place. It's a nice place, and we're gonna go. That's the guy. We're gonna show you this here. It's a church and a Salvation Army, and that's the church there. It's brand new. It's not very old. It's a nice church. And then they put food out for the people on these tables. There's somebody getting some, and you can come up and it's free if you're hungry and get the food. How you doing, bro? Okay. They got a playground for the kids. That's a water park. See those holes? That thing squirts water all over the place. Alright, so let's go down a couple of these other streets and get some more videos of these properties that are empty and abandoned, that the city knows are dangerous and they need to be torn down, and it's not safe for the people or for the children, but they let them stand anyway. So it would cost lots of money, you know, to tear these properties down. I understand that, but at the same time, it needs to be done. Somebody left a comment in one of my other videos that said the government just gave Ukraine billions of dollars. So they're giving, I don't know that for a fact, that's a comment that was left, but they'll give Ukraine all this money, and here we have houses like this, the roof on the porch, the house is completely abandoned, it's completely done for, the roof is caving in. That house has to be torn down. It can't be fixed. It would cost as much to fix it as it would be to build a brand new house. So they have to tear it down. We going down a back street where they have supposedly cameras, but people are known for dumping in these areas, and they do it all the time. Okay, we're coming up on a camera on this pole. Here's another abandoned house right there on the corner. The roof is bad. It's just terrible. I don't know if you can see that camera on that pole. Okay, that's a camera there to catch people dumping stuff. So let's go around here and have a look more and see. Like I said, some of the places are livable and people do live in them, but there is just millions and millions of dollars in East Cleveland with abandoned property that needs to be torn down. Now this house here, look at this house. It's a good looking house. It looks like it's been painted, a little bit of siding put on it, but it's boarded up and abandoned and empty. Nobody lives there. It's right across from this house where you can see the red and the yellow colors. Somebody has stolen that red off of there. That's aluminum siding. They went up as high as they could, stole what they could, and then took it to the scrapyard to get paid. They got a few bucks off that aluminum there. So let's travel on. Yeah, that house, that blue house there, looks pretty decent on the outside. It's boarded up, but somebody clearly did some work to it, and then they left it. Here's two houses here. Looks like that house back there is occupied. There's an air conditioner in the window, and right next to it is this abandoned house. Okay, and then next to that is this abandoned house, and they're very small houses. Look at the porch, the deck that they built. It's just completely gone, falling over. The side, the windows, the landscaping, the trees and bushes and stuff, all overgrown. Stuff on the porch there, and that's right across the street from a house there, and then you got another house over there that's boarded up. So these abandoned properties are mixed in with properties that are boarded up. They're doing some construction up here. Went under the bridge, that's the train tracks. This house here is abandoned, people dumping wood. They didn't have to dumped that wood. Somebody could have used it for firewood. Look at the landscape, and it's just been overgrown for years. And then you have an empty lot with a big abandoned building behind it. If you can see that tree back there. And the house next to it is also abandoned. And there looks like a notice on the door. That house is right on the corner. Lots of kids travel this area, and that house needs to be torn down for the safety of the public. Okay, this is Elderwood. We were on this street yesterday for the video 1 and 2. We're gonna go here, and this is a major dumping area. Okay, here's a big building. It's all boarded up. They took the steps, and the steps caved in. You see the bricks from the steps there. There's no steps to the door. Private property, no soliciting. Okay, that whole building is banded up. The windows are gone, so they boarded it up. Okay, and then if you can see, I don't know how well you can see it. I'll go over there. All those empty buildings over there. Here's the major dumping spot. The building is banded up, boarded up, and it looks like the city has cleaned up somewhat, but this whole area here, as you can see, is full of garbage, and it was packed to the top. It looks like the city brought a backhoe in or something and cleaned it up, because it was just loaded. That pile back there is roofing materials, and then next door to it you have another abandoned building. Everything in East Cleveland is abandoned. Okay, that building there, the windows are gone. Look at the stonework on that building. These were beautiful, high-class buildings back in probably in the 20s. You know, they're probably 100 years old. Look at those. Look at that roof on there. Those roofs. That stuff, if you could get those shingles off of there, you could make $1 million. Look at that. Look at the inside of that building. Those windows are completely gone. That building is completely ramshackled. It's a shame. These were fancy apartment buildings. Very nice properties. Very popular area. But they just tore it all up. So let's go over here to this other area. This is a car shop here on the corner that's been abandoned, but I don't think they've gone in it yet. So they're doing the construction. I have a building, 2 buildings that I want to show you that are abandoned before the end of this video, and they just blow my mind that they could allow that to happen in this city. I'll show you them in a few minutes. I'm gonna go down this street here if I can get down it. I've shown you in our East Cleveland Worst City USA videos lots of abandoned buildings. Look at that building. The whole building, the roof is gone, and you can see the sky right through the windows. The Alberta building, very dangerous. Broken glass everywhere. The landscaping is all messed up. Everything is just completely ramshackled. Then you got an empty field. Okay, look at that building. That's ridiculous. The bricks are leaning. Look at those bricks leaning. They're getting ready to fall over, but they're gonna fall into the building. Okay, that's barely even a shell standing there. And the building next to it is completely ramshackled. They've been dumping back there in the driveway, and the building was boarded up, but you see they've gone into windows and removed everything. A lot of these windows were aluminum storm windows on them, and they stole them to take the aluminum to the scrap yard. So that's why they do that. This